Today, I'm gonna be on a discussion about talking about some people that like to be in control. We all feel that way sometimes. We like to take control over everything that goes on in our lives. You don't have no control. God has all the control. And sometimes we can find ourselves as being some control freaks. It's so funny because I was talking to somebody today and she said she felt like she was just being a control freak. Everything had to go her way or no way at all. And sometimes I found myself in that same predicament. And somehow, sometimes you have to just, hit your feet stomping and say, oh, that's me too. Okay, but anyway, they can be loud, they can be proud, living large and in charge. They struggle daily with being controllable. The need to control outcomes in other people is destructive sin that slaps them their strength in a relationship with God. So sometimes, no, they're not alone. There are many people that feel that they have to be in control over certain things. But anyway, like I said, I was looking up some things about being in control. Control can be as exercise restrictions or direction over uh, commands, situation of being under the regulations, trying to be control of somebody else, a free person. It can be put as if a animal, a plant that is abnormal or deformed, a person who is obsessed with something. Control freaks is a person who are obsessed with denominating and commanding others to the point where they strip the ability of others to flourish or to grow on their own. Yes, we all been on that busy end of the barrel of someone who's a control freak. It's not fun, violates their list rules of what it takes to please me, or push the wrong button and watch them go poster into a strict and a stern mode. They even get religious, quoting scriptures to bend you to their will. Then I found out the Pharisees are a picture of control freaks gone wild. They had an insane list of annual training of what the church had to do to get it right. To say that the Pharisees was obsessed with them dominating others is an understatement. Then along comes Jesus, who calls them snakes, hypocrites, trashes their lists, and say they are teaching others to be twice a son of hell as themselves. Matthew 23 and 15. And the Pharisees responded, they killed him. Control freaks don't take it well when they are called out. So I'm going to give you a little list of some things I have found out. Eve, Sarah, Miriam, and Martha were Bible women who were bossy. They was bossy to the max. Why were they bosses? And what consequence did they suffer for their behavior? Boss, according to Webster Dictionary, means overbearing and controlling. Eve, the first lady, she nagged her husband Adam into eating a forbidden fruit in Genesis 3. Seeing as Adam knew he was being manipulated by his mate, but he allowed her to bully him into disobeying God. And what was the consequence of her bossy behavior? Nothing much, just sickness, death, and the fall of all human mankind. Why was pushing Eve deceived, and what caused her to fall at it all? Head stuff, being God-like, is vicious nature of Satan's himself, and we fall prey to every day. Pride goes before a fall, and that's found in Proverbs. It says, and it landed the devil in the hottest hell. Now Sarah, let's take her for instance. Sarah was Abraham's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her. Okay, Abe agrees to what Sarah says. So after Abe had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarah his wife took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. Oh my God. God had promised her hubby a son, but sassy Sarah didn't wait for the straw. After all these years was ticking by and she was already having hot flashes, so in Sarah's impatience, she created a solution. She did all by herself. That means taking control. However, the stunt Sarah pulled backfired in a big way. Now Ishmael is on the scene, making little Isaac life miserable. What were the far-reaching consequences of Sarah's action? And Abraham Isaac conflicted that would plague world history until Jesus come back. Control freaks don't wait on God. And then Myra took hungry, jealous, almost got her killed. The days of pushing Moses, her baby brother, down the Nile toward the Egyptian princess were long gone. She saw Moses, the murder force, out of Egypt. Myra was a good girl. She kept her head down and waited for God to deliver her people. Brother Aaron and big sister Myra stood beside Moses as he led the Jewish nation through the Red Sea and climbed the mountain side to talk face to face with the Almighty. She was jealous of him. Why couldn't she and Abraham call the shots? God roared with anger at her and unbridled ambitions, so he smacked her with a roaring case of leprosy, a deadly infection disease. Terrified, she was sentenced to saluting outside of the Hebrews' camp to live a life of agony and rotting flesh. Father, fortunately, Moses intercede on his sister's behalf, and she got a reprieve. Jehovah headed her jealous after a week, but Myra learned her lesson, and she learned it well. And let's not forget our favorite little bossy Bible woman, who was Martha. Martha stood up Bethel. Now, she really was a control freak. After all the masters was coming to dinner, and Martha didn't want to fall. She had made these certain kinds of dishes. She had them to be plump and pretty and juicy. She even had this fish, and it was fresh. She spied her sister Mary, the slacker, looting her in the living room listening to Jesus. Martha was a perfectionist, and she needed her son, her soul chef. In her anger, Martha cheered Mary to deserting her kitchen duties. But Jesus had a different perspective in Luke 10, 38 and 41. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he was saying. But Martha was destructive. She was distracted by all the preparation that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do work for myself? Tell her to help me. You know how we do? Especially if we the bossy sister. Martha, the Lord said, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. We can see ourselves in Martha, hyperactive, worry wrought. We run around franticking, panicking, feeling failure, and worried about everything and everybody that we love. What if often dominates our waking moments? Jesus spoke to Martha heart, and he's speaking to our hearts. Stop worrying. Stop trying to ensure every outcome. I got this, he's saying. Jesus serves us. Sit back at my feet and let go. What causes you to be so bossy? Is it arrogant, overweening pride like Eve, impatient and unbelief like Sarah, envy and selfish ambitions like Mary, fear and insecurity like Martha? You are not sentenced to a life of misery. You can trust your master and your maker. He is God and you are not. So what a relief it should be. Is there someone you need to forgive? Ask for forgiveness from those who have wounded you with your anger. Face your pride. How have you exalted yourself above others? Face the pain. If you have been wounded and have never dealt with it, now is the time to let God hear you. Quit pretending there isn't a problem in your inner world. Start processing what happened with a trusted friend or a trusted family member and pray and journey through with the Lord. Grieve if you need to. Share what happened with others who are being hurt by acting and asking for their forgiveness for your false coping mechanism. Release. Forgive everyone you need to. Ask for forgiveness from those that hurt you. This has a wonderful way of lacing pride. Stop all judging of others. As soon as thoughts of judgment hit, let it go and pray for mercy, that you may be merciful. Quit pointing fingers. Your loved ones want you. They don't want you to be a would-be prophet. Speak the truth in love. Focus on your weakness and let the Lord be the judge of others. Try to accept them with your faults just as he accept and forgive you of yours. Let your loved ones make mistakes, even your friends, so they can learn from them. This would be especially hard for some because there may be a loved one or a friend who needs a lot of pain before they smack a hard bottom. Even so, release them to God. So I like to lead this prayer with you, and it says, God, we know that you want the best for us, but it's so hard to let go of control. We know that you have a plan and you have a perfect one for each one of our lives. We know that you redeem our mistakes in all those hard situations and uses them for our good. We know it, but God, it is so hard to live out something. Please help us and please be with us and help us to keep digging deeper and opening up our clenched, controlling hands and our hard and stony hearts to you more each day. And thank you for being always good and always working.